Okay, in this video, I'm reviewing the game between Yichen and Advik. So this was the game from UK Chess Challenge Tera Finals, U10, 2025. So the game started with London System, and black played b6, so this is unusual. I mean, usually black would just divide d5, then after b6, black is going to divide the bishop to b7 to controlling e4, and the white play e3 and b7, bishop d3, c5, knight d2. So I think white can choose to castle, or my point is keep the knight at b1 for a while, because maybe later after c4 we can move knight to c3, so have even more control of center. So knight d2, and another reason we play h4 is because if black play knight h5, we can move the bishop to h2. So this bishop is a great asset, so we should keep that. So here knight d2, black should play knight h5, but black didn't do that. Black played d5 to controlling the e4 square. c3, knight d7. So actually it's better to move this bishop first and then move the knight, maybe to c6, because we have already pushed the c5 pawn. After knight d7, this dark bishop cannot go to d6. So again, so this f4 square, f4 bishop can stay at this long diagonal for a long time. So queen e2, still h4 is something we should consider if you don't want your bishop gets traded. So c4, kick the bishop, and b5. So black has accumulated its space at the queenside, started to launch attack, and e4. So this move makes pieces trading too early. So instead, white can consider move the knight to the center, and if bishop to e7, so we can trade knight first, and then we can play castle or h4 to launch attack on the king side, since we have pair bishop aiming at the king side. Or you can play e4 because the f6 knight has to move to d7. If queen takes, we can move knight f3 and kick the queen with knight e5. Then we have a very powerful center queen. So the e4 move makes piece exchange too early. So black didn't do that. Black should take the pawn, trade almost everything, and then knight b6. If you check, like queen d7, and then black will have a very powerful like d5 outpost for the b6 knight. Since black didn't do that, that's usually a mistake. Knight b6, so white play e5. So after this pawn move, so this is very typical in London system, black should be cautious of. So once the pawn reach e5, white has built very strong space control at the king side. And if you look at this pair bishop, both of them have very long diagonal controlling the e5, the king side, and also the knight can move to g5 very easily, and also queen to h5. So white can launch attack very easily. So here black should move the knight to e4, trying to stop white attack the king side, even though it lost the pawn. The problem with knight d7 is white can attack the h7 with the pawn and the knight. And more importantly, if you play h6, white can sacrifice the knight, which is a brilliant move. Check the king and move bishop to g3. So there is like checkmate or like skewer coming. Black cannot stop. So here, but white didn't do that. White castle, this slowed down the attacking, and h6, this is brilliant, stopping knight g5 and bishop to g3, g5. So this move is risky, because again, if you look at the the space controlling from both sides, black has like greater space at the queen side, but the white has greater space at the king side. So from black's perspective, it's not wise to launch attack on the king side. It will be very difficult for black to maneuver pieces to the king side. For example, if you look at these three pieces, how can they maneuver to the king side? And this dark bishop cannot move to d6, which means it doesn't have a long diagonal to control. So this move like weakens the king side of black, and this makes pawn exchange much easier. So for example, white can play knight e1 and f4 to trade the pawns and open the f file. If black doesn't take the pawn, we can keep pushing the pawn. So white do that, and b3. So this move is not consistent with knight e1. Maybe white is looking at the queen e7 move and thinking black is going to long castle, so trying to open the queenside, but this is not the best direction. So we should still play f4. If you took my pawn, I take it with the rook. So long castle is actually a mistake, so black can win material. So the king has to stay there for a while. And if black doesn't castle, let's say bishop g7, otherwise the queen will get trapped. So you can play queen h5, still adding pressure on this f7 pawn. So this is really difficult for black to defend, like rook f8 and bishop h4, the queen is trapped. Maybe knight f8, so we can attack the king, move the king here, and trap the bishop. So the bishop is trapped. So again, so white should definitely open the f file. So b3, h5, and h3. So this is not the best defensive move. The best is h4. If you took my pawn, I play bishop to f4. Still keep especially the h file closed. And if you play h3 or rook ga, I can take h5. But if you take h3, I can take the pawn. So with that already being said, white has, it's really hard for black to maneuver pieces to the king side. So it's fine to have an open file. The problem with the h3 move is black can play g4, offer a pawn exchange. If you took that, black moved queen to here, and taking the pawn later. And if you take the pawn, black can launch attack on the queen side. This is a bit surprising, but for example, if you took the pawn, there's you will lose this and lose c4. If you take this one, bishop b4, black managed to open the bishop active. It's really hard for maneuver the bishop knight here because you will get checkmated. And if you move knight back, so there's a bishop a6. So black can launch attack from the queenside pawn exchange. So h3, black castle, and a4. No, the white should do that to make the queenside even more open. But after this move, black might only have one open file. a5, f4, h4, bishop to h2, bishop to h6, and f5. This is great. Rook ga, and keep pushing the pawn. So now white has dominant space control at the king side. So this is a closed game, and the side who is capable to maneuver pieces will be the dominant one. Queen d8 and knight f3, knight to f6. So here, if you want, you can pause the video. The question is, there is a very good route for the d2 knight to get developed. Think about it. How can you find that? So there is a very great way to b1, a3, b5, and d6. So once our knight moves to d6, it can attack f7 and control a lot of squares. Since the dark square bishop is really hard, for example, we can move knight to b1, if knight h7, knight 3, bishop to f8, knight b5. So we try to control the square, but queen d7, and you can launch attack. So we can move the knight here and take the knight. So but in this game, white move rook a2, maybe try to double the rook first. Queen c7, king f1. This move is interesting, and I think this is creative. I think the purpose is move the bishop to g1 to divide the bishop. This is a good idea. Bishop to g1, bishop to e3, trying to attack g5. I think now the problem for white is, I think it has two directions to attack the black, but I think we do need to combine them together. So knight h7, king g1, knight d7, and knight f1. This is a mistake. The best move is trade the knight with the bishop and then take the pawn. So white can win this pawn. But white didn't do that. The problem with knight f1 is the queen will get trapped. Knight f6. This is what black did. This is a very good move. Takes, takes, and the queen gets trapped. It's really hard for the queen to escape. Bishop f5. White has to give up the bishop, and here. So after bishop g5, queen goes here. But after rook h3, we cannot simply take the pawn like bishop g3. If we move here, takes, king goes to h2, we will lose the knight. So black has or rook h3. This is even better. Yeah, winning the queen. Why not? So the thing is, after this knight f sacrifice, black managed to open the king side, and this is quite interesting because at the beginning black doesn't have much space at king side, but after this knight is changed, this is impressive. And so yeah, that's it.